I honestly don't know what is more shocking, the fact that this is a full face video and not a close-up of my eye, or the fact that this is like minimal eyeshadow. I don't know, who am I? But this is the year of full face videos, so I'm going to be doing my pretty much everyday soft glam. If I'm going to work and I don't want to do like a lot of eyeshadow, a lot of makeup, this is kind of what I do. So I'm going to start with a primer. As always, you still want your eyeshadows to last. I'm going to be taking the About Face primer. So if I'm doing a minimal eyeshadow look, I typically like a more clear primer, versus if I'm doing a lot of eyeshadow, I go in with like the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. I just feel like these type of products work better for minimal eyeshadow, but just going to apply that all over and blend it out. The eyeshadow for this look is about as simple as it gets. All I'm taking is MAC Soft Brown eyeshadow. So honestly, the shadow that I use varies. I use soft brown a lot. I use my bronzer a lot. I use just any random brown that I can find. I just like the look of a warmer toned brown in my crease. If you are a more cool toned person, then you might like a more cool toned brown, but I'm pretty much just slapping that in my crease. I'm not even being careful with it. I'm just using a fluffy brush and just really throwing it on there and bringing it up kind of high to my brow because I do have a lot of space in my crease. And now for the star of the show. This is one of the Half Magic glitter pucks, and I am obsessed with these. They are just such a unique formula. They honestly feel kind of wet when you're feeling them in the pan, and I think that little bit of like moisture keeps them on the lid versus falling all over your face. But then they're not like heavy. You honestly can't even feel it when it's on the lid, but it's just, I can't even compare it to anything else that I have. But you can just use any shimmer, but I'm putting it all over my lid, and as you can see, it's so pretty. Then I'm taking the Bobbi Brown eyeshadow stick in Rich Brown. I also sometimes grab just a random liner, just something that is brown, and I'm going to put a little bit on the outer half of the lash line. I first take a small brush to kind of blend it out a little bit, but then honestly, I just go with my finger and just kind of go ham on the blending. You just want to do this one eye at a time so you're able to blend it before it dries. To me, when I'm not doing lashes, this step can typically be pretty crucial because it's going to give me that little bit of darkness and depth at the lash line to make it seem like my lashes are thicker than they are, because when you're wearing falsies, you really don't need that because obviously the falsies give you so much volume. But like I said, just blend out with your finger. Don't have to be too messy. And same thing with this. If you have more cool toned skin and you do cool toned shadow, you can do more of a gray for this step. Once I blend it out, I'm just going in with a little bit more closest to the lash line, and this part I'm not blending out. So you're going to have like a blended layer and a non-blended layer. Next, for my current favorite mascara, this is the L'Oreal Big Deal Mascara. So if I'm not wearing lashes, I do the waterproof version because it keeps my curl intact all day. If I am using false lashes, I just use the regular one. Obviously, removal's a little bit easier, but isn't it so pretty? And I don't even have the best lashes, but I just love this mascara. It lasts all day and does not smudge. So for any fallout, I typically just go in with some more eye cream just to clean it up and obviously give me more hydration because I am incredibly dry. So I'm just taking my Kiehl's Creamy Avocado eye cream, and obviously it'll make my concealer look better. Now to jump into complexion. So I did all of my skin prep obviously prior to this video, but for primer, I've been really liking the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. So we obviously now have Tatcha at Ulta Beauty, and I have never tried this primer. Even when it was viral back in the day, I've never tried it, and I really like it. For foundation, this product is incredible. It's the Makeup Revolution Skin Silk, and I feel like nobody talks about this. I work at Ulta. I feel like nobody buys this. Like, I don't understand why nobody knows about this foundation, but it is a beautiful like skin tint type foundation, but it has a little bit more coverage, but it's just so beautiful and glowy, but it wears really, really well. And I love it so much. So I'm just taking a brush and pressing that into the skin. With all of my products, you will notice I am pressing it into the skin. I'm not doing buffing motions because this is going to give me the fullest coverage, and it's going to make sure that I'm not getting any streaks or anything with my products. Now for concealer, I kind of rotate between two. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Concealer. I do really like this one. Sometimes I use the Tarte Radiant Concealer, or I'll use the Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. Either one of those, just some sort of hydrating medium to full-ish concealer, just because I do have a decent amount of darkness underneath my eyes. But same thing with that, I just put a little bit on the inner corner, outer corner, and as you can see with my brush, I'm just pressing it into the skin. You don't want to swipe. Obviously, if you're using a sponge, you're doing that same pressing motion regardless, but I am a brush girly through and through. Now, one of my favorite products is the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer. I use the shade Medium, and if there's one thing I don't slack on, it is bronzer. I love a bronzer helmet. I love to be super bronzy. I feel like even the video didn't even do justice of how bronzy I am. It's preference. But I like to put this on the top of the cheeks, the forehead, and then I will put it across my nose. I do often do like faux freckles too, so I feel like when you do the cream bronzer on the nose and then the faux freckles, it just looks so cute. But I skipped out on the freckles today because it's like 11 o'clock at night and I didn't really need to do that. But I'm getting all of my cream products out of the way first. So for blush, I'm going to be taking the Nude Sticks Nudies Matte in the shade Sunkissed. I love this one. This to me is that, like, I've been outside in the sun. I'm kind of a little burnt. I'm kind of getting a little bit of a tan. It's just such a pretty shade. And I love it when I am self-tanned and when I'm also very fair. It just looks beautiful both ways. But as you can see, I am just pressing my brush into the skin because I don't want to move all those products I have on. If I swipe this brush, I'm going to move all of those products, and I don't want that. So for powder, I'm taking the new Kosas Cloud Set Loose Powder. This is the translucent candy. I do really like this. It's not a dupe for the Givenchy, but it's the closest I've found. And I'm just taking a tiny bit on a brush because, like I said, all these products kind of set down pretty well on their own. And I'm just really setting the center of my face. Now for one of my absolute favorite products of 2025 so far. This is the L'Oreal Lumi Le Glace Highlighter. These are so beautiful. It is essentially like a wet looking balm. It doesn't really have any pigment to it, so it just gives you like a wet look to your cheeks. And again, I don't think the camera does it justice, but I've been obsessed with it. You definitely want to press with that one or it will move your products underneath. So back to the eyes, the only thing I'm doing here is applying that soft brown shade underneath my lash line. I do like to smoke it out pretty far, and I am kind of connecting it to the outer corner to my crease, so there's no like disconnect there. Whether or not you do shadow on the lower lash line is completely preference. I think some people look better without it, and I'm definitely one of those people that look better with it. And plus, to me, I don't have to do as much concealer, and if I didn't fully cover my under eyes with concealer, then it's okay. So for lower lash mascara, if I'm doing minimal makeup, I really like the Clinique Black Honey Mascara. It's like a warm reddish brown, and it just gives me a little bit of definition without being too much. So for lip liner, this is Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Medium. And for lipstick, this one is by Lancome. The sticker came off, but I will figure out the shade and have it down below. But that is the completed look. I hope you guys liked this full face video, and let me know what type of videos you want to see, and I will see you in my next one.